actually put those salamanders right here so I can see them and you can hand them to me. The data recorder is going to sit here so they can read the pit tag.
After a good night's sleep and an amazing breakfast, it's time to measure each of the captured salamanders, scan them for tags from previous years, and insert new tags into unmarked individuals. Each salamander is anesthetized to minimize stress levels while they're being handled. The anesthetizing agent is a chemical called MS-222, which is absorbed through their skin and gills. The lengths and weights of each captured salamander are recorded. Because the tails of some salamanders can be lost, the length measurement is made from the tip of the snout to the cloacal opening on the underside of the body near the hind legs. This is called the snout-to-vent length. The salamanders are weighed with a portable digital balance. Each of the captured salamanders is scanned with an electronic reader to detect the presence of passive integrated transponders or pit tags.
Yeah, so there's no tag in that animal or else that would have beeped.
A pit tag is a type of radio frequency identification device, or RFID, which can be implanted beneath the skin of an animal. Each pit tag has a unique identification number which can be read with a scanner. In this way, a scientist can distinguish between individual salamanders when captured in subsequent years. If no pit tag is detected in one of the captured salamanders, a new pit tag is inserted under the skin into the abdominal cavity using a hypodermic needle. Once the pit tag is inserted, the animal is returned to the live well until all salamanders have been measured and tagged. Idaho giants are not the only creatures found in Weir Creek. The salamanders share their habitat with other species, including amphibians, reptiles, fish, and insects.
The Idaho giant salamanders in some of the smaller streams, by biomass, they're the top predator in those headwater streams. As a predator, they can have major trophic influences in that ecosystem, but they also are really important prey items. So garter snakes and other animals living in association with that stream are going to rely on amphibians. Idaho giants as a prey source. So.
Another amphibian found in Weir Creek is the tailed frog. These small brownish colored frogs lack a tympanic membrane but do have a tail, which is actually an extension of the male cloaca. This copulatory organ is used to transfer sperm to females. The tadpoles of this species have a sucker-like mouth, which allows them to attach to rocks and maintain their position in the stream's current. The mouth is also used to graze on diatoms from the rocky substrate.
The other thing that we're accomplishing this year is that we're getting a really detailed map of the habitat in the stream along 10-meter reaches. And I don't know what the students' perspective of that was, but this morning we had I think a fruitful and educational chat about what variables we could measure and should measure and how we might measure them. Parts of that conversation might have been frustrating. I could tell some of them were getting antsy and like, okay, let's just get on with something. But I think it was a good learning experience for them to, know how science works. So, and I think the variables were meaningful to them after seeing the salamanders during the week and then measuring them today, and we really got a routine ironed out, and I was really pleased with that, and I think we'll have a nice detailed set of data for future analyses. So
Finally, it's time for Operation Freedom, the releasing of the salamanders back into the stream. Each is released within 1 meter of the place it was captured. This is important so that, if it is recaptured in subsequent years, the team can track its movements within the stream. While the team is releasing salamanders, Dr. Cossel comments on the importance of conserving salamander species like the Idaho giants.
So, I guess the question being, why should anybody even care about Idaho giant salamanders or amphibians in general? Even if amphibians had absolutely no contribution to us as a species, as human beings, they still have their own value as living organisms. So even if we're off the planet, amphibians still should be conserved. So, but just thinking, okay, well, if they aren't some good for us as human beings, then who cares about them? But really, they're unique and have a right to be on the planet as well. And if any of those species are lost because of activities of human beings, then I think that ethically, morally, that's wrong.
Well, after a long hot day on the trail and stream, there is no better way to cool off than jumping in the Lochsa River. After the water hole, we head off to the Lochsa Lodge for our first hot shower in a week and a good meal with great people. What a fantastic way to end our week. Next on Chasing Giants, we'll hear from Dr. Cossel and the students as they reflect on their search for the Idaho giant salamander.